You're jumping into real estate investing. Should you buy a long-term rental or a short-term rental? Which one? Why? We bought both, and we're giving the pros and cons of each asset class coming up in this video. All right, what's up, you guys? We have a special guest today on the video. You've asked for her. You've missed her. I see her every day, but it still feels like I miss her.
Yeah, everyone's been asking, where have you been? Where have you been? So I felt like I had to really just jump in here and make a cameo.
And because we're now officially monetized, I can now afford to bring her onto the show once in a while.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. We had to work out the details of the contract.
All right, what are we talking about today?
Like, looking here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Into their soul. I see you.
Today we're going to be talking about some of the differences between long-term rentals and short-term rentals.
All right, what's up, you guys? Welcome to Investing with the Baldovinos. I'm Josh.
I'm Hannah.
And this is our story documenting our journey in real estate investing. If you're new to this channel and you want to invest in real estate, whether it be short-term, long-term, flips,
midterm,
fire, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Anyways, we're going to jump into our honest thoughts now about hosting or having long-term and short-term rentals. Babe, what is your quick, just initial feelings about either of them?
Wait, hold on. Okay, immediate thoughts is short-term rentals are way more work than long-term rentals.
What do you think about long-term rentals?
Long-term rentals they're less work than short-term rentals.
Wow. Okay, well, that's a wrap, guys. If you enjoyed this.
And that was the video.
I think it really depends. As you're thinking about what asset class you should invest in, you should really think about how much time you have to allocate and how much capital you have, because those very differ. It really just boils down to how much time do you have and how much capital do you have.
Mm-hmm.
If you have less of it, less time, less money, go long term. If you have more time, more money, short term.
I also think it really depends on your goals. Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Because I feel like those two different things are accomplishing two different things.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I like it.
I bring something to the table.
You do. And it's not food, trust me, guys.
I feel like it's nice to know that we have a long-term rental just there sitting and accumulating. Oh my gosh, what's that word? When something escalates. Appreciates. When knowing that this thing is appreciating over time, and maybe when Ezra becomes 18 years old, then he can take it and do what he wants with it. It's nice knowing that we have like this little security bag.
Set it and forget it.
Exactly.
All right, so yeah, let's dive right into it. Let's talk about everything long-term rentals right now. On a long-term rental, this is your 1 year or more lease. So you have a tenant comes in there, they live in the area, they work in the area, they pay every single month, you get a recurring check. You do have some maintenance requests here and there, just depending on the unit. And from there, you just collect the mailbox money. If you have a property manager, it becomes even more passive because the property manager typically charges less money and they handle all the maintenance requests. So you can basically be 100% passive. What do you like about long-term rentals?
All the things that you just said. Yes, it's like you have somebody else taking care of all the little nitty-gritty things that might come up, and then you only get really pinged if you have a turnover or if some major expense happens.
And I'd say, just kind of reiterating another point to this of why I like long-term rentals, is that you need significantly less money into the deal in order to make it work. So you can buy out of state, you don't have to furnish it. There's also more financing options. So versus a short-term rental where if there's not steady rental income all the time, it's a little bit more, I wouldn't say difficult, but there's a different lending product to those. And because of that, there is less loan products. And so you have a limited amount of loans that you can use to acquire the unit. I was going to say something a little more like leverage. But anyways. What do you not like about long-term rentals?
I guess the monthly cash flow is very little. It doesn't make a big impact in your checking account each month. And then it's felt like we had a little bit of a turnover situation. We had a couple like unreliable tenant situations where one of them just like up and left during the middle of their lease. And so the turnover was a little bit more expensive, was a little bit pricey.
Yeah, they basically trashed the entire unit. To add on to that, they stopped paying rent. And then after that, they broke lease and they moved out 7 months into their lease. And then they trashed the place, ripped out some of the cabinets, and then we had an additional turn cost. That usually doesn't happen on a short-term rental. And if it does, for example, there is air cover that could potentially cover some of those expenses. But this is, again, talking about long-term, so scratch. What else do you not like about long-term rentals?
I think that's pretty much it, because honestly, like the two that we have, or how many do we have now? There's a couple. Really?
Yes.
Holy moly. I gotta revisit that. Yeah, I mean, so much so that I forget how much is in our portfolio. What I really love about this is I get to, just benefit off all of your hard work. Yeah, that's literally let's say it together. Set it and forget it. So yeah, I'm just like, it's so hands off and I don't even know what we even have. But it's nice to know it's there.
Hands off for her.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah, hands off for me.
Okay, let's talk about short-term rentals.
Okay.
What do you like about it?
The monthly cash flow. I like the instant rewards that comes in anytime there's a booking. Yes, it feels like there's just a bigger dollar amount that comes in each month. Not feels like, there is a bigger dollar amount that comes in each month.
Okay. What other pros are there?
I like that there's these additional places that we can go and stay. So we can go hit up Joshua Tree not necessarily when we want to, but when we have the time. And now we have that nice place in Branson that we get to go and visit someday. So it's nice to know that there's just random little spots that we can go with family and stuff.
I completely agree with you. And I also say that because look at this. Little sneak peek in our notes page. Boom. Her pros, big returns, place to vacay. Mine is, oh wait, that's down here. More money and you can stay in.
We have the same ones?
Oh my goodness.
That's so
what
cute.
jinx. Yeah, that is a big benefit of it. So, yes, the money is a lot more, but this goes into the cons of the work is a lot more.
Yeah,
so
true. Wait, can I just say it's really cute because Ezra knows the Joshua Tree house as the desert house. So he'll say things like, "Can we go to the desert house?" And it's really cute.
It is really cute.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, cons.
It's more return because you're putting in way more work. I mean, it's... and I know, why did I get so aggressive? Yeah, so... And granted, like you and Ash did all of the setup, all of the acquisition, the furnishings and all that stuff. And I only just really jumped in once it was already established and I had to deal with all the guest communications, or most of the guest communications. We're all kind of, we're all helping each other out. But it's significantly way more work and it takes, I would say at least like a few hours a week now, I think it takes. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when you have a full-time job and you have kids and things like that, it's a lot.
You're making more money because it's not just the real estate and the experience that you're selling the guests, but you're also selling the hospitality factor of it. And I'd say that ties into the experience. Mm-hmm. They will ask you, where should I go to park my boat in the marina? Never been to a marina before.
Yeah, so that's actually really interesting too because we've technically never been to Branson. I know Ash has gone there, but we've never been to Branson. But we have to answer these questions kind of like we've been there, like we know.
I just Googled
we had to Google it. That's again still the same thing that we brought up, the same gripe that I had last time. It's like, why aren't you just Googling these things? I don't understand, but whatever. Anyways, dealing with a guest is the biggest con, which is crazy because that's actually the job of having a short-term rental.
Yeah, my other con that I would add to this list is that it costs significantly more money to do this. So for example, let's just take our first house in Columbus. All in, we spent about $35,000, and that's the down payment, that's closing fees, and that's some minor repairs to get the unit and the tenant in there. It was about $35,000. All in for Joshua Tree, we're roughly about $135 to $140.
Whoa.
So you can buy basically 4 long-term rentals for 1 short-term rental. Now you tell me, is that worth it to you?
Those are two different markets.
But if you think about the cash flow, like net cash flow with that first house is roughly now between $400 to $500 a month, and so could be, if we had 4 of those, $2,000 in profit, and that's basically what our profit is with the short-term rental. Mm-hmm. So all things, if cash flow is equal, which one is worth it for you?
Let me put it like this. All of your work, yours and Ash's work, is worth it for me.
Wow. Yeah, and I will say, I think our profit margin in Joshua Tree and with short-term rentals will increase as we start to get more amenities online. So we just turned on the hot tub. We just put up the cowboy tub. So now we can start to increase how much we are charging for the average nightly rate. So I will expect to see the profits increase over the next couple months just because of those added amenities. But of course, it took extra money to get to those price points. Mm-hmm. The tax benefits is a pro for both long-term and short-term rentals. The one con, though, is that even though, and you'll probably hear it, that there'll be a lot of paper losses for long-term rentals, even though that business on paper is cash flow negative, that long-term rental property is cash flow negative, you can't use that negative to then offset your active W-2 income. So like my marketing income. That's a small, subtle con. I can reap those at a future date, but I can't do that now. Is that really a con? That's a little geeky, but you know.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't even know.
On a short-term rental side, one of the pros to add back in, talking about taxes, is that you can do what's called a cost segregation study. What is that? Basically, you have an engineer tally up your house and things that you use to build it up. And from there, because it's an active hospitality business, those write-offs that they calculate, those operational expenses can get deducted off of your active W-2 income. What does that mean? Not a CPA. Check with the CPA. All of those disclaimers, like this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm just re-spitting out information that was told to me. Say you make $100,000 a year, just to make numbers square, and you now have a $500,000 property that, for whatever reason, after it's added up by the engineer, has $100,000 in active write-offs. You can offset that year one if you were the active manager of a short-term rental that you own against your W-2, which means that brings your W-2 taxable income to 0. Again, I could be missing a couple steps here and there because I'm not a CPA, but check with your CPA if you want to learn more about it. I also have a podcast linked to put the CPA to talk all about it. So that was a really long answer for something you didn't need.
Yeah. Nobody said anything, and then all of a sudden we're talking about taxes.
Anyways, okay. With all that being said, hopefully that answers a little bit of just the what's good, what's bad about each of them. What are you jumping into next, babe? What excites you the most right now, long-term or short-term rentals?
Short-term rentals, for sure.
Why?
Well, because you and Ash will just set it all up, and then we'll get the money. I like I want the monthly cash flow. I want more money.
She wants the more cash flow faster.
Yes, I want it faster.
Okay. For me, I think it's whichever deal presents itself next that has the best cash-on-cash return. Because right now, for example, if you're underwriting deals and you're looking at and analyzing short-term rentals in, say, the Smoky Mountains, you're probably not getting higher than a 20% cash-on-cash return. You're probably looking at a 15 to maybe 17, at sometimes 20% cash-on-cash. But you're not finding those unicorns that give you 25, 30, 35% cash-on-cash return. So, a little more geeky. But you can, subscribe to learn what all those mean.
So anyways, kind of in summation, in conclusion, what are some of the things that you think people need to keep in mind before they jump in?
If you didn't understand all the terminology that I said in this podcast, 1, subscribe. 2, binge watch all my videos, because at some point there is a video that describes all the terms. If not, pause and Google them. The more that you understand these terms, the better your underwriting will be. You'll be able to be more confident about your deals just because you understand every single nuance. And if you still don't know, feel free to leave any questions in the comments below. Boom. What about you? What's the advice you would give to someone jumping in?
I would say this is not an area or a type of industry that you can dabble in. If you're going to do it, you have to get really obsessive about it. You have to do all the research. You have to connect with the right people. And it's going to be a lot of work. So if, like, it's good for people like you because you guys just dive into this huge tunnel vision and then learn everything about anything and everything and about anything and blah, 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 and it just never stops. So it's good for people like you. But you're not, like, for me, if it were me on my own, like, I would never be successful because I don't care as much.
That just means that she's not willing to put in the effort.
I'm not willing to put in the effort. So either become a person that's going to put in the effort, or partner or marry someone that is going to put in the effort. One other thing was that any deal, I feel like any and every deal that we've done so far, the budgeting has always been a very stressful factor. So I would say just be ultra conservative with the guesstimations that you have about your money. Because I feel like every rehab, I don't know, whatever, short-term rental and even anything that we had, it was always like $10,000 more than you expect.
Yeah.
So just be conservative.
So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that gives you just a little bit into our thoughts about, now that we have operated both for the last, year-ish, what we think about each of the different asset classes. Again, like she brought up earlier, it really just depends on what your goals are. If you want to be more active and make more money, then it's short-term rentals. But if you want a more passive route, even though finding long-term rentals is not a passive route at all, then just consider what those goals are for you. If you've made it this far, can you comment down below cash flow? Just put cash flow in the comments. I know that you're a true super fan. We brought back on the show. You made it this far. We're basically real estate besties. Anyways, I hope you guys all like that. Don't forget to like, because that means a lot. Comment, subscribe. I better see that cash flow. And if you want to see more real estate content, whether it be long-term or short-term rental content, I have the playlist all up here, so you can binge watch to your heart's desire. All that good stuff. What is it? Why are you laughing at me?
You're such an influencer.
You have to give call to action. For those of my marketing friends, you have to give a call to action. And I know that you want to watch more because you're watching this far and we've bonded. Anyways, everything's all linked down below. I will see you all in the next one. Cheers. What?
Bing, bing. I didn't turn.